Everybody, Steve here for Hoot to My Dice, Ultramarines and beyond. And I've been thinking a lot lately about choices. Choices we make, especially with the hobby. I'm going to do a longer video on choices, but I wanted to show off two choices that I've done recently. And how, just in a slight way, how I'm going to view the hobby from now on. So let's take a look at one of those choices. Well, two of those choices right now. So the first one is these gentlemen again. I will decide I'm going to start using these guys as Stern Guard. So this will be a Stern Guard unit for my Ultramarines. And I know they're training war veterans. Everybody knows how much I love these guys. I know, obviously, they're not the brand new shiny Primaris. But it's a choice I've made that I'm not going to let Games Workshop define what models I use in my games of Warhammer 40,000. I see a lot of people have called 10th edition the edition of loss, and it has been. There have been many units across all the armies that have vanished. The Dark Eldar, Drukhari being victims of that in their most recent codex that just came out or is coming out. Where they've lost a ton of units, and apparently now they have less units than the Leagues of Votann, which I do find weird. As a Space Marine player, we lost so many units over the last little while. So I've decided I'm going to bring these guys back out and use them as Stern Guard. They have cool looking bolters. They're definitely veterans. It's not something that's going to confuse anybody. So that is choice number one, or one of many choices I've made recently. I'm going to start using these guys as Stern Guard and put them on the table. Games Workshop obviously puts out new stuff because they want to sell it. They want to refresh their lines. I've decided to use these guys. And this is the other choice. So obviously, new Black Templar Codex, Crusader squads, at least the old school Firstborn, went out. Obviously now we are using the new, what they did call Primaris Crusader squads, just calling Crusader squad now, obviously with the brand new models. The choice is that I'm still going to use these old ones because I don't feel like spending more money on an army that I already spent a ton of money on. And time and energy. Again, Games Workshop can change up things they want, but I'm going to continue using what I want. That's part of the choice. And I'm not trying to sound overly negative about Games Workshop. I appreciate the models and the stuff they put out. I said it somewhere else recently. I can love the game and tolerate the company, and that's kind of where I am now in my journey with Games Workshop. However, what I did is I took parts of my old Crusader squads. I repainted the Sword Brethren there. So I painted up his shoulder pads black and the red trim to show that he is a Sword Brethren. And I took 4 of my Ultramarine scouts and made them into neophytes with a quick black and white paint job. And I will be using this as my Crusader squad going forward. Obviously, I did have a Rhino for this. I say obviously, I don't actually really use the Rhino for a while. I do have a Rhino, but obviously that is no longer going to be usable in my army, so it's gone. But I have done this so that I can continue playing my Black Templars. It was a nice way to sort of keep my army going. And yes, I know they're not Primaris, but I honestly don't care. That's another choice. And I will, as I said before, be talking more about choices that happen in our hobby, the choices we can make in a forthcoming video. So that is 2 of my choices. And I know this doesn't make some sense now, but it definitely is something that I have been thinking about, the choices we make and what we choose to do with our time in the hobby. And some of this, and I'll go into further detail later, but some of this does stem from just the sheer amount of people who I've seen on YouTube and other social media where the negativity, and that's a choice. And I'll be talking about that later, as I said, but thank you for sticking around, guys. Keep rolling those dice, and I will see you in the next video.